Hey everyone, this is the Four Seasons of Film podcast with Nathan Robert Blackburn and Andrew Pesha. This week we're covering Barbenheimer. Enjoy.
One word, Andy. Barbenheimer.
I'm excited. I've been waiting to do this one.
I have hated that term since somebody coined it. And whoever coined that term needs to go into some level of hell.
I'm pissed that, they put Barbie first, then Oppenheimer in that. It could have been the other way around. I would have gone on board with it.
Then what would it be called? Oppenbarbie?
No, that sounds too...
this is why you're not a writer. That's the worst idea I've ever heard in my life.
Up in Barbie.
See, just because they were facing off from one another on the weekend, they made it like somehow got into my mind, and I'm sure it didn't in anyone else's mind, but that these films were somewhat related. But
yeah,
they're not related in the slightest. And that's the weird thing about, I love double bills. I would certainly never sign up for Barbie Oppenheimer double bill. That's strange.
I thought about doing it after all the press about it, but I was like, fuck no, I can't. I want these to be two separate experiences.
Well, maybe they did it. They also created it so one wouldn't get shortchanged on the weekend. It said, make sure you go see both, so both play in theaters and make money.
Right. I think it was like for moviegoers, it was like the perfect weekend because you had Barbie, which was the more mass appealing, summer movie, and then you have Oppenheimer, which is a masterfully done piece of cinema. So it's like something for everybody.
Not to get ahead of ourselves with our review of how much you liked one and hated the other.
Who said I hated the other?
I'm not saying you hated the other. I could just, knowing you as a friend, if I can call you that,
loosely,
more of just a host and co-host relationship.
Yeah,
how about I give you your review of Barbie?
I would love to hear this.
It was delightful.
I mean, I could leave it at that. No, I have some more substance to give to the Barbie review than that. But
certainly the two biggest movies of the year, and one is done by the auteur argument can be made for both of these filmmakers, even though Nolan is, of course, the more experienced one with a longer track record of doing mixed medium films. And Gerwig now is, she's on her third film and not one is recognizable from the next. So you can certainly make the argument for her that she's on that auteur track. It would behoove me to start with Oppenheimer first, only because he's the more experienced filmmaker. It's the one I was more excited to see. I saw Oppenheimer at Grauman's Chinese Theater on Hollywood Boulevard in Los Angeles on 70 millimeter film IMAX.
That is amazing. I just saw it on regular IMAX.
It's because you were lazy.
Man.
You could have went to the Metreon in San Francisco.
But because I had a short window to see it, and it was all sold out, man. And I couldn't at the time go to a 11 o'clock in the morning movie. So
I saw mine at 10 a.m.
Well, I would go, but I had some other obligations.
10 a.m.
Some other projects.
Sold out scring at the Chinese Theater. By the way, I refuse to call it the TCL Theater. It will always be Grauman's Chinese Theater.
Right, yeah. I mean, even though they bought it, whatever, fuck it.
But let's talk about Oppenheimer first and how much you loved it.
Oh, my God.
Because I could just tell. I could tell you loved this movie just from a general aura you gave. But, let's let something before knowledge go.
Okay.
Fill in the blank.
Okay.
Age before beauty? I
yeah,
guess?
Sure. Yeah, you old fuck. No, dude, because Oppenheimer was the movie that was the summer movie I was looking most forward to ever since the little teaser trailer, and I love Christopher Nolan. So he was set up for success from out the gate, and I knew I was in good hands no matter what.
Because of Nolan?
Because of Nolan, right? And, because I enjoyed...
No, I'm asking you to explain that.
Oh, because, I mean, just...
Remember, we're on a podcast.
Yeah, it just everything, I separate them out, even though they're part of his repertoire, right? So you have the Nolan films, then you have the Nolan Batman films that he did. right?
Oh.
Right. And I celebrate his whole catalog. His whole entire
He's not a fucking musician.
his whole entire filmography,
Oeuvre?
right? From ever since Memento. I always loved that movie growing up. I always thought it was, like
If you love it so much, why do you pronounce it Momento?
because I am illiterate, okay? It's not his fault I can't read.
Okay.
But the just everything, and then like Tenet, after we were going through that whole thing that shall not be named because I'm done with talking about it, but like that was the one movie I saw after years and going into
what movie shouldn't be named?
No, not the COVID time.
Right.
But like I remember going to the theater and I'm like, dude, this is if anybody's movie I'm going to see that's a filmmaker right now that's producing new films, it's like this Nolan film is going to be the one. And I was just blown away. Still to this day, watch it I've watched it a few times and still learning the details and all the little intricacies of it. But everything he does is just amazing.
Yeah, I love Tenet looking back. And, it confused me and then it confused me and then it confused me. But when I look out the window and stare longingly into the stars, I think, I really do love that movie.
Yeah.
There's something about when Robert Pattinson walks away and it just kind of breaks your fucking heart.
Right. Is he walking away for good or is there just starting all over again?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, of all the Nolan films,
Dunkirk too. Fuck, man.
Dunkirk is it's like a masterpiece. It's so well done. It's ridiculous. Oh my God. He's probably the most popular director that's working now. Modern day director. Making films. He's going to make films for a long time. Heavily revered by the filmmaking community. Heavily revered by me for his film restoration, methods and. Still shooting, on large format like IMAX, 70 millimeter. Still advocating for theaters. I mean, he's
just a purist.
He's a chip off the old block.
Yeah, right, dude. Just all around, just yes.
And he seems like he is a very nice man, and he thinks Ricky Bobby's movie is one of the best comedies of all time.
I like that movie too, but best comedy of all time. I would pick.
That's weird. I would have never picked Nolan to pick. That's the movie he watches when it. I know what he's saying in that because I remember when we got off set on Track Shack, I couldn't watch anything because I just couldn't. I didn't want my focus. I couldn't let my focus rest on the movie. It was somewhere else. I was so burned out and I was so done mentally. And so we watched all the Jackass films.
Yeah, right, which is great because you just laugh. You know what to think.
It's just like so dumb. These guys just getting hit in the nuts a million times and falling down and intentionally hurting themselves. But there was something that was just so joyful about that because I just didn't have to think. I knew what it was. And I'm just laughing at the absurdity of it. So I think that's, Ricky Bobby Talladega Nights. I think that's why that's definitely what he puts on just so he can turn it off. And I have to say, like, of those McKay movies, that's kind of my least favorite one.
Yeah, I would have picked Step Brothers over Talladega Nights.
But I have to watch it again because, I've only seen it maybe one time all the way through. But a lot of those McKay movies kind of missed the mark for me. It was it's around the time when Apatow and McKay, they were doing what I call like improv writing, where they would they'd have the story done, but then they'd get into a scene and just do take after take after take and, shout out, say this line, say this line, say this line in like 50 versions of the same joke. And I could see it in the editing and it just took me out of the story. I could never buy that they were real. It was
right.
These are just comedic actors, trying this method. I could see the method. It was like seeing the Wizard of Oz or something behind the curtain. So that kind of ruined it. But now, all these years removed, I probably would have a better appreciation for those movies. How do we get into? Oh yeah, Nolan likes Ricky Bobby. Well, I agree. Oppenheimer was definitely it. I don't know that it was the most anticipated movie of the year for me because Scorsese has a movie at the end of the year. Alexander Payne has a movie at the end of the year. So I'm
but
definitely
for the summer though.
For the summer, it's the beacon of shining light because I think I've been saying it for a while. I think we've turned the corner on the Marvel movies being the dominance of summer.
Right.
I'm not even hearing anything really about the Marvel movies this summer. I mean, what is it? Blue Beetle is coming out
Yeah.
next. You know, it's like they just look at now Marvel is just looking out into the out the window and going, let's make it called Green Tree. How about Blue Sky? That sounds like a superhero name. How about Red House? I mean, it's like it's just it's a tremendous game of I Spy for Marvel movies, you know. But I get it; they're making money still.
Yeah, right.
You know, the audience is still showing up, so there's a place for them at the cinemas, certainly.
Yeah, and then of course once they like some of the more known Marvel heroes come back for their movies, those will get butts in seats.
Yeah, but do you think they're ever going to come back? Like is it the second tier, whatever the hell you call that phase?
I didn't think this is like I don't even know what fucking phase we're on right now.
No, but like
the new
middle
generation,
the middle one where it was like arguably the best. Well, to me, it is. If you're going to pick a phase, that is the best phase with the Robert Downey Jr.'s and the Thors and
they're not going to come back to those characters, but they're gonna still do like the Ant-Mans, the
never.
Black,
you don't think in like 20 years Downey Jr. is going to be like I want to play Iron Man one more time.
Well, they did that with the Flash with Batman. Michael Keaton comes back as one of the Batmans. There's like 3 different Batmans because he's going through different like rips of time.
Boy, DC's a mess, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is just a mess. Every time I see a DC trailer, I go, oh man, this looks like a fucking tidal wave of shit.
Yeah.
And not to take away from the filmmakers, it just feels, I feel uncomfortable watching it because it doesn't know what it is.
Yeah, they're trying to catch up to Marvel. They have the budgets, but they don't have like the polish, like I guess, that Marvel has been able to do over the years.
Well, thankfully, Nolan comes along and gives us a movie, a blockbuster, a visual, I'll say tidal wave again, a visual tidal wave, a cacophony of sound, a cinematic experience like no other with a sold out audience. I had no idea that people were going to show up to this movie because if you say it's about the invention of the atomic bomb, it's a movie about science. I don't, is it Nolan that has the cachet that gets all these butts in the seats? Is it the visual spectacular symphony they're seeing, on the promos? What is it that gets the normal person in and makes Oppenheimer a smash hit like this? Because on paper, it doesn't read like a studio would not get excited about this if not for Nolan.
Right. I mean, that's a big, huge thing of it, right? And I think also too that now that cinema is kind of coming back, right after the little break we had to take.
What do you mean? It came back with this. It came back with this in Barbie.
Yeah, but this is like now this is the movie. Like everyone that's seeing it is like, okay, this is a movie they kind of know because of the scope of it. Like me watching it at home, like waiting for it to be on streaming versus getting the theater experience. This movie's an experience to see in the cinema.
Well, I'd have to talk to some people about that. I've certainly not heard that yet. Certainly it's made a lot of money, but I haven't heard a lot of feedback on what people thought of the movie, and
just because Barbie, everyone's talking about Barbie, and that's the hit thing to talk about. So it's like, whatever, but sneak it past the goalie, get Oppenheimer in there, and fucking learn you something about film.
You didn't sneak it past the goal, Andy. The movie made a shit ton of money.
Yeah, I know.
Didn't sneak anything onto that screen. It was a fucking spectacular.
Comparatively, like you walk down the street and be like, "Hey, anybody see Oppenheimer?" You might get a few people, and then you're like, "Hey, did anybody see Barbie?" And fucking everyone's like, "I'm ready to chew your ear off."
But you're buying into the stupid marketing campaign of Barbenheimer because the movies have nothing to do with each other.
But they came out in the same
weekend. So stop making a comparison. You're the one making a comparison of yell the names on the side of the street. Stop comparing them just because they came out on the same day. The movies have nothing to do with each other.
Barbenheimer, it fucked it up for everybody.
I know. We need to look up who made that name. They're gonna get hate mail.
It was probably like BuzzFeed or something.
But they always do that shit, like Brangelina and
yeah, right. Just mashing up of words.
What was Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez?
Bennifer.
I mean, it's just laziness, is what it is. I'll bet it was like a TMZ thing or Us Weekly, something like that.
One of those rags.
But this one really caught on.
Yeah.
But what did you think of the movie Oppenheimer? It's 3 hours long. I'm only making excuses for what I know about you as an audience member for a movie like this. It's about history. It's
First off, I like history. I like science. The 3-hour movie part, yes, I had some trepidation going into it, but
it's 3 hours long. You're in a packed theater again, full of people that, it felt like it was a Marvel movie in that the theater was sold out.
right. Yeah,
So
mine too.
I didn't know who I was sitting with. I didn't know who I was sitting with when I was watching this movie, because I'm going, you're all here to see this subject. I mean, about World War II, the atomic bomb, history, 3 hours long. I was shocked that the theater was sold out, even though I knew it was going to be, because I'm going, I like this, this boring history stuff, but everybody else hates it usually. What are they all doing here?
Yeah. I wonder, it's like, because maybe people, it's horrible to say, but maybe people feel smarter going to see this movie.
Did you? Did you afterwards?
Of course I did. After every history movie, I feel smarter.
Fine, I'm going to lay down the first brick on you then. This movie is not about science.
It's not.
They didn't explain. There was so little science on how they did this that I was shocked. I thought it was going to be kind of more like a PowerPoint, and they were going to really get deep into it. At the same time,
do you really want to have a documented movie about like, this is how you make an atomic bomb here, country?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, well, it was rhetorical.
And you know the answer is yes, right?
Oh yeah, we should have the 3-hour YouTube on how to make a bomb.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted. I want to go in, I want to hear scientists talking about shit I don't understand, so I can try to understand it and get a better grasp on it using the visuals of a Christopher Nolan movie. And mic drop. What did you want?
Well, you're helping terrorists.
I wanted to see Cillian Murphy's beautiful blue eyes on that screen.
Of course I did. But
is it Cillian?
It's Cillian, right?
It's Cillian Murphy. Okay.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I think we all knew that he was one of the best actors of his generation before this, didn't we?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Man.
I mean, he just needed this part, but he's always been just so fucking good in everything he's done.
Dude, yeah.
I'm so glad he got this role. He definitely is the best part of the movie. He's heartbreakingly good in this movie.
Yeah, I never saw 28 Days Later till after watching Oppenheimer, because I want to be like, dude, I never seen that movie, and I heard he does such a fantastic job, and then I was blown away off of that too.
That's Danny Boyle, and Danny Boyle he's one of my favorite directors working
for
today.
Sure, but yeah.
So fucking good.
Yeah, I mean, dude, yeah, I'm still in awe of this movie after like a few weeks out of seeing it. Right,
it's the scope. I think that it hits you. I mean, it just like it grabs your attention the whole time. But I think it's like it opens your eyes up, so you're floating into the screen and you're gone for 3 hours.
Yeah, and the thing is like I said, the only thing I kind of was like, 3 hours? You got to be fucking kidding me! I went to see it at 8 o'clock. I'm like, dude, I'm not getting out till like 11:30. Fuck, but dude, it was.
I will say on the 3 hour thing, I thought the last hour was a little long.
Really? I did. I thought it flew by the whole time.
No, it still did. But just from a writing aspect, from when the bomb goes off and then there's another hour and then it's sort of like the court case. Mm-hmm. It was a little thin for me.
Ah, really?
It was, yeah. If I had any notes about the writing, it was like, I did find my mind meandering a little bit, going like, oh, I wonder how much longer is in this. And that's just the only tell. Like, my mind did that, so I'm obviously thinking there's something I would tweak about the writing in the last act.
Yeah. Okay.
But the other thing that I would have any criticism on, even though I fucking think this is a beautiful, almost flawless movie, is the way the story is told is sort of. Remember my criticism of Elvis, where you don't even get to live in a scene for more than like 30 seconds?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It's similar to that, even though scenes are beautifully staged and beautifully, the pacing of every scene is great, and it's very long and there's very short ones. It just felt like it was a dream the whole time, like a montage the whole time. There wasn't a beginning, a middle, and an end of any scene. You just kind of went from this memory to flash forward to backwards. There wasn't a lot of sitting in silence. It felt like it was
Well,
It felt like almost like a music video montage of a 3-hour movie. And so it was kind of like a fever dream, but I totally know that's what he intended. That's
Yeah.
what he wanted. So it's like, it's not even a knock. I can't even criticize it because
the moment of silence was when they were doing the test and like, all right, is this all going to work?
no, I don't think you know what I mean with the
Oh, okay.
with how the movie is told. Typically, a scene happens and there's a beginning and a middle of an end, and in this, we're already in the middle of a scene, and then the scene doesn't end. It just jumps to another point in time later in or earlier in these people's lives. It's nothing was really in succession. Like, okay, he has this scene, then he walks out the door and he goes to the Capitol building, and then he goes over
Right.
here. It wasn't
Yeah,
like
I
that.
gotcha.
It was just chunks of real life events or real life meetings, interspersed with the time jumps that happen. It sounds complicated, just like the movie, to explain. Do you have any idea what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
I do now. Yeah, I know what you're meaning right now. But I think that's because I think maybe that's he did use that as a device to make it not seem like it's 3 hours.
Oh, I totally agree, because if it was like these long, drawn out, boring scenes of dialogue, instead of him choosing all these dramatic clips from this guy's journey, I don't think it would have landed. I think people would have rioted in the streets.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, having said all that, I've still absolutely loved the movie, and that stylistic choice. It just hit me in that Elvis way where I was like, can we just see what happens? Just hang out for 5 more seconds in this
Yeah.
scene. I want to see what happens in this scene. But still, stylistically, his choice, and I still love it. It's just, I fear movies are going that way more, and then the copycats are going to fuck up that style that he went for.
Yeah, I could see that. But dude,
It's like the Monkees and the Beatles.
I'm a Monkees fan. I'm not, I mean, they're not as great as the Beatles by any means, but the Monkees are still good. I enjoy them. But dude, I think also too the fact that for this movie there was in the subject matter that he did it without CGI.
Well, minimal CGI.
Minimal CGI, like, dude, that's such a breath of fresh air, especially after we're talking about the kind of end of the Marvel super movie, kind of.
Well, that's his thing.
Fever,
No, that's his thing.
you
Famously, since crashing that plane into the wall in Tenet, he tries to do it real, and another reason why I admire him so much. I think that's the way film should and always will be. But unfortunately, it's cheaper to go the other way, using green screen, blue screen, and heavy VFX.
Yeah, sometimes it's safer,
Safer, of course,
sure,
but it feels inauthentic for a reason, because it is inauthentic. Oppenheimer did not. I mean, the history was amazing. The fact that you can have a character named Oppenheimer and he's not the most moralistic man in the film, and you still root for him, you still feel bad for him, you feel the amount of pressure that he's under, and it's really a simple movie about a very complicated subject and time in history.
Yeah.
And that's what struck me the most about the movie. The effectiveness of what they were trying to do was building up to actually seeing it get done. And of course, the most powerful scene in the movie is when the fucking bomb goes off. And hopefully everybody else shares this with me in the theater. Hopefully when that thing goes off, it hits you so hard in your body, in your chest, and all the feels, and you kind of feel the awesome destructive nature of this, and you go, holy fuck.
Right.
We are so fucked.
As a society.
We are so fucked that we did this, that we created this.
Yeah.
We have the power to destroy ourselves finally. Oh my God. And they didn't really get into the politics too much of dropping the atom bomb. As scary as the bomb going off was, which I admit I was weeping when that thing went off. It was just terrifying to me because it was real. equally sickened right after the scene. There's a scene after where where Oppenheimer basically is, they see the army basically taking the bomb away from him.
Like his work just gone like that.
He says to the army people, okay, so you'll let me know, how it goes and how it went and everything. And they're like, no, like, you're done. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for the bomb.
You fulfilled your contract
and
fuck off.
And you're done. Yeah. And it was like, oh my God, I'm going to be sick. Yeah. I would be sick to my stomach. Not only did you create that, you gave it to the fucking army. Oh no. Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, and I love that point that you brought up about him, not being the most moralistic of the of characters, but it still asked those questions with everybody around him, because everybody else was going through that struggle of creating this weapon of mass destruction. Like, should we be doing this?
It's odd to me that he had time for all the extramarital shit because of how much shit he was going through.
God, you can always make time for fun.
I mean, my God, dude, it's like, yeah, well, I'm only human. It's like, wait a second. No, you're not. You're trying to invent the atomic bomb. But it was powerful performances by, of course, Emily Blunt and the amazing Florence Pugh. Not to say Emily Blunt's not equally as amazing, but there's like a puissance going on right now.
You're giving shit about Barbenheimer and you're gonna say puissance?
I think somebody else has coined this. And actually, when I was at Grauman's, they were announcing the cast for some reason. There was an announcer before.
Oh, cool.
And she got an amazing woo from everybody, like when they said Florence Pugh. So the whole world is seemingly in love with her, and myself included. I think she's a tank of an actress.
I'm a woo for the pew.
Yeah, she was great. She was great in this, just like she always is. And Emily Blunt was, I think she was at the top of her game too, because she had to go from, kind of proud in love to devastated to defending her husband, to these fucking pricks that were trying to take him down.
Dirtbag of a husband who's been cheating on me, but you know what?
But he's my husband.
Yeah, like, God damn it.
Stand by your man.
You think that atomic bomb was bad? Imagine that conversation really back home, Oh, wow. All right. Thanks for your support on that.
Well, bad jokes are just bad jokes. I can't do anything about it. Bad writing, bad person, I always say.
Bomb.
But, it really was a triumph. It was everything that I thought it was going to be, and actually more. It was better than I thought it was going to be, and I already thought it was going to be great. I was just kind of devastated by the film. I was devastated by how good it was, the impact it had on me, what it was saying. Matt Damon is even, I think, turning the corner into like, oh, he can play this older general guy now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about Damon. I loved him in this.
Yeah. I still couldn't see him totally as not Matt Damon.
I don't know if that'll ever go away, though.
Yeah. I think that's always going to be him. But I also got kind of sad. I'm like, oh my God, Damon can pull off the gray hair now.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when he was Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, right?
Oh,
or Talented Mr. Ripley.
Oh, no. In that little bathing suit. But, yeah, I mean, the Albert Einstein, I mean, when you see guys like that on screen and played so real and accurate with who we think they are, it devastates me, because I'm seeing people that I consider legendary in the flesh, like they are these people. And to have a story like Oppenheimer's told, it's so important to me as such a history buff and a fan of history, and trying to just gobble up all the history of the world into my brain before I go. Seeing it done so well, and an audience actually cared, that made the movie even better for me. I went, it's like I'm like a history professor in the background going, thank God I reached these people. And I didn't have anything to do with it. Like, they care about what I care about, and I had nothing to do with it again. But
yeah, still.
The fact that you liked this too, I'm going like, well, God damn, at least we fooled him.
Oh, fuck you. Like, wow, you knew I was going to like this.
I don't know. I thought it was going to be more sciencey.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
I thought it was going to be more sciencey, and that might have deterred you from loving it.
I love science. I love history. You paint me like I don't care about
But even
things.
You just said, if this was a 3-hour movie about science, you would have been like, what the fuck's going on here?
Well, it's the 3 hours. That's not the science part.
What if it was an entertaining 3 hours?
Like this? Hell yeah.
No, there was no science in this.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If it's entertaining for 3 hours, man, I could sit for 3 hours.
I'm not saying there's no sciences. Of course there's science in this. I just thought it was going to be like a lot of science.
What they do a shot of the formula on the board and they walk it.
I'm telling you, I'm obsessed with those big giant chalkboards with all the physics equations that go on, and they fill the entire thing. And somebody can walk up and go, "Oh yeah, I see where you got there. I see how you got. I see how you got here." And I go, this is like reading calligraphy, from Sanskrit or something, which that ties into the movie.
Mm-hmm, it does.
But yeah, I want more of that because, like Good Will Hunting, it circles back. That movie fascinates me because they start talking about science and I go, oh my God, I want to know what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. And I still don't. But Oppenheimer gives you more. It leads you to want to go read the book. It leads you to want to go more in depth into the history and to find out, what really happened, versus the events of the movie, see how they match up. It's just such a love letter to that time in world history. And yeah, I don't think it could have gotten any better than what he gave us. Certainly my favorite film of his right now. I just rewatched Dunkirk again, and that's such a brilliant movie. So it's kind of stupid to say what's your favorite Nolan film now, because now you just go, I just kind of love them all.
Yeah.
Except I only saw Interstellar once, and it didn't really land for me, but I would. Maybe it'll land on the next viewing of that.
I enjoyed it.
I can't even really remember what it's about besides McConaughey crying and saying goodbye. No, he doesn't even get to say goodbye. He's just watching his child grow up and get old.
Yeah, because he's trying to come back through the space-time continuum. I mean, if you understood science, maybe you would understand the movie.
I don't think you understand what you're talking about.
I do. I am a scientist.
Whew. I'm gonna leave that there. But let's talk about Barbie.
Today's episode of the Four Seasons of Film podcast is brought to you by Phil's Coffee. Phil's specializes in handcrafted coffee made one cup at a time. Visit a location today or find them on the web at philscoffee.com. That's Phil's with a Z, coffee.com. Find the beans you're looking for.
I'm going to leave that there. But let's talk about Barbie.
Woo! I'm ready.
Yeah, it feels like this movie is impossible to review now.
Well, because it's already been talked about.
Well, no, I mean you can't say anything critical about it, and everything that's been said that's great about it. It feels like I'm just going to regurgitate that.
Okay.
I
can. You want me to start? I'll take a swing at it.
Okay. Yeah.
So Barbie. I was like,
she's cool.
I get it. I was like, all right.
I'm annoyed by your review already. Barbie, I mean, I get it.
No, I was like, I know.
Hey, why don't we mansplain Barbie?
I know why they're making this movie. That's how how I thought about it.
Back up. How are they making this movie? Why are they making this movie?
Because it's kind of like it's like an Avengers movie. There's a lot of
You're wrong. A
lot of revenue to come. This is what I thought originally.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
Well, how am I wrong? This is a fucking toy. There's a fucking line. There's Barbie lunchboxes. There's Barbie everything.
It's Greta Gerwig. She's not going to go in and make a movie because of what you're saying.
No, but this is even before they attached Greta to the project. They're like, we're making a Barbie movie.
You didn't even know about this before you knew Greta Gerwig was directing this movie.
Yeah, but still, I as a studio executive thought process, they're like, Barbie, let's fucking do this. You know how much money we can make out of this? But they put somebody that's like, all right, you got to make it good, because it could have went way south of being like, here's the toy movie. We're going to sell a bunch more toys.
Well, I don't know. Somebody else took a stab at this script and it didn't get it right. I can't remember who it was originally, but then years later, they brought in Greta to do this. I still disagree completely with your conceit of this. There is no way to make this movie unless you do it the way it was done. Because otherwise it's an animated Barbie film, which they have done, which you put out to small children and are literally just cartoons for very small people you could show on Saturday morning or something.
This is the movie that the families could take their kids to. and you get both markets right there. You know.
So what's strange about the movie is, which I really enjoyed it. It's strange because I wonder what children think of this movie, because it was so adult to me.
Right.
That seeing all these young people in the theater, I'm going like, does this land with you the same way it's landing for me? Because it doesn't seem like this is a child movie. It's very heavily themed. There is big bright pink and like bright colors and dance sequences and stuff like that for the kids to enjoy. But it's more of a message movie, and kind of like a commentary. Very much is a commentary on society and gender politics, and the list goes on. And that's the movie that I saw. I associate critical theory with Barbie, and not some sort of I've heard people go, it's a kids movie. Lay off the politics of it. And I'm going, I don't think it's a kids movie. I think it's important because it is a political movie.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that, because I thought it was going to be like a kid's movie.
Well, again, you're such. I'm not going to say you're a dumbass, but
95%, 99% of the population was like, going into this movie is like, it's Barbie. I'm going. I don't care who's making it. I'm fucking going to go see Barbie.
Lady Bird, Little Women, and then Barbie. And you think Greta's going to write and direct the movie?
You're putting too much. Greta did a great job. I'm not saying she didn't do a great job, but you're
I'm putting it on you that you.
No, because most people aren't going to say, "Oh, I'm going to see the Greta Gerwig movie." No, I'm going to see fucking Barbie because I played with those dolls when I was a kid.
You're not taking ownership of what you just said. You're putting it off on other people. You just said you thought it was going to be more of a kid's movie. You are at fault here for thinking that, because you should have known better. Well, it's Greta Gerwig.
But then I saw the trailers, and the trailers didn't do it justice before.
Doesn't she even say, do you ever think of dying in the trailer?
Well, this is like, hey, it's Barbie coming in over to the human world. Okay, cool. Yeah, but I didn't think it was going to be this much of a commentary.
The word is esoteric. That's funny.
Yeah,
you just be more confident in your 25-cent words.
I didn't want to go that route yet, but whatever. I want to keep it.
What are you talking? I went that route. I'm saying it's a commentary on a vast array of issues.
Yeah.
And it's okay that you can talk about it. I didn't really understand how it became so politicized and polarizing, because I just watched the movie and went, yes, that happens. Yes. Yeah. This is society. This is how society is. And it's like people come in and they want to like make headlines with their reviews of this thing, saying, talking shit about the movie or criticizing the movie for being overtly political, when it's like they're saying that the politics are hiding, but the politics are very overtly apparent in Barbie.
It's in your face.
It's not trying to be something it's not. And that's the thing. How is it threatening? Threatening is not the word.
Different animal right there.
Threatening is not what I would say about this movie.
No.
You watch it and it's thought-provoking. It's a very thought-provoking movie. The whole Renaissance. I'm doing this all day. It's good. The whole Renaissance. That I went in knowing that, and actually, I thought I actually liked Barbie's character more than I liked Ken's character. He was a little cartoonish.
Yeah,
he's a little bit too cartoonish.
Comedy foil.
And I know what I'm saying when I'm saying Ken is too cartoonish in the Barbie movie. But I still love the performance. It was a confusing movie walking out of, because it felt like there were two movies competing for each other. Now that I can think about it, the child movie and the adult movie.
Right.
And I took away the great things about the adult movie, but the childlike nature of the movie, I remember distinctly going like, I don't know why, I got to get out of Barbie land. Can we go to the real world? And that's as an audience member. And as soon as they got to the real world, I went, oh, I know how she's going to do this. She's going to film it like documentary, like this is the real world with these two plastics in them. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, I like this. Now I like this. I don't know why Barbie world made me so uncomfortable. I guess because it was so plastic and so fake, and everybody's so happy, and it just wasn't real.
Right.
And that's the point. But it made me so uncomfortable. I didn't want to go back, and then they took us back.
Yeah, because they're coming back. Everyone's
Well, that's
seen
the arc.
fucking movie.
That's the arc of the movie. You know you're going to have to go back, and of course, Ken does what he does, and then you have to fight a different patriarchy. It's a really smart script.
It is.
It's really smart the way it was structured. It's really smart the way it was filmed. I really love the use of practical again, just like Nolan. She used as minimal CG in this. Kudos to her art director for Barbie Land. Oh my god,
the production design was fantastic.
Yeah,
in this.
yeah. It's like that's part of the political spectrum that people aren't talking about is how uncomfortable Barbie Land made me because of how fake everybody was. Right. It was like being at the worst Hollywood party in the world.
Yeah, but it's a fake plastic toy, so I think that does it justice, right?
No,
but it means so much more to
absolutely
so much more
not.
people.
Again, you've missed the mark on this movie completely. I can tell.
No, I didn't miss the mark on this movie. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I walked out of this like, fuck yeah, I'm really glad I went to go see it. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and people are going to learn themselves something.
You sound hostile. You sound
I'm just hostile because because I'm glad she did it, but it's the guys of like I said, it was like, dude, this is like the Avenger movie for moms.
Okay,
because like from a studio standpoint, I'm more pissed off at the studio than
I think what you're doing is kind of cutting down the idea of what the movie actually is by just saying it's a marketing ploy because of the cachet of the name Barbie, that it's going to make $1 billion instead of actually the movie's pretty good, so that's why it made $1 billion.
You even said you were going somewhere and Barbie was coming out and you looked in line. And everyone was dressed up in like hot pink and like their hair all blown out.
So
what does that sound similar to? What other premieres?
The Rocky Horror Picture Show.
That's way different. No, that's way touche.
Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Way different. Marvel movies. I
have never seen anybody dress up to go to a fucking Marvel movie.
You haven't been to you haven't been to enough of them. Opening night, like people are all wearing their Marvel
and I'm
shit.
sorry that I haven't, but I have not. And I didn't have a problem with people dressing up to go see Barbie. It was very endearing to see little girls dressed up to go see this movie and excited to go see a movie in the theater. It reminds me that when Sex and the City, that the movie finally came out, everybody was going to see that, as groups and, having themed cocktail nights and stuff, and I like that. I like it because people care about movies again. And even if I don't necessarily like the movie, it makes me feel so good because it's like that somebody loves that movie so much. I would love to have a movie where somebody's dressing up, cosplaying, going to my movie. So in essence, fuck you.
Oh yeah, whatever. but I am just so happy that Greta.
You sound like the executives in Barbie. There's this curmudgeon of a dude that's like, this is a cash grab. I can't believe the wool was pulled over their eyes with this movie. It's all about a plastic doll. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, it was brilliant, man. I guess I'm pissed off I wasn't the one in charge of doing all this.
You think it was brilliant because they did the movie at all and made $1 billion, and they're sitting there going like,
and they made it great.
What other toy movies are we gonna do now?
Right?
Which they're gonna do.
Oh, of course.
They're gonna do.
The My Little Pony movie is gonna be coming out next year, or something like that.
That would be a disaster,
right? So that's that's the only. It has nothing to do with the film. I thought it was I was just so happy, coming out of that, and just like it was refreshing that it went that way. It was trying to teach you something. It was masterfully done. It didn't feel schlocky. It didn't feel.
I don't know, man. I think Margot Robbie was amazing in this, and the general consensus is that Ryan Gosling he's the best part of the movie. I actually could detect him not fully giving himself to the character. Like he couldn't let go totally. There was just a little bit of campiness and like a wink to the camera, like, I know I'm Ryan Gosling and I'm doing this.
Check out my ass.
I couldn't, and I love the guy. There was something about the character where it felt like he was acting instead of acting. Does that make
No,
sense?
yeah.
Does that make
Instead of
sense?
becoming the character.
Yeah,
really.
and he usually becomes the character, but he also does always have that one eyebrow up, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
He's like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Ryan Gosling," and he pulls it off because he is so charismatic and great. It's just he kind of had to make himself look like a huge asshole in this,
I've
don't
done
think
that before too, Ryan. We are in the same boat.
I don't think he made him. I don't think he let go enough to really make himself look like the hugest asshole that Ken is in this movie.
Yeah.
You know, which I'm not saying I could do any better, but I just got that thing out of it. And whereas Margot Robbie's character, I thought she was completely that character. I thought she was Barbie. You know, she had a great emotional arc to it.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did she produce the film, it was kind of her baby, her champion. I thought she was fantastic in this. Her emotional scenes made me emotional. You know, there was something about, obviously my favorite moment in the movie is the speech and then the huge joke about Margot Robbie giving the speech. Do you remember that moment?
Yeah, I kind of do. Hold on one second, dude. My mic sounds weird now, huh?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, never mind. Maybe it's just the headphones. Go. I kind of remember it.
Oh my God! Did you not see this with a huge audience? The biggest joke of the whole film when she has this emotional speech about not being pretty, and then there's a voiceover that cuts in. Note to self: we know that Margot Robbie should not be giving this speech.
Yes, I do.
That was the biggest. I can't believe I had to remind you of that.
I thought you were talking about the other speech. What's her name?
It was the best. It was the best joke and the best time joke and the biggest laugh of the entire movie in my theater.
Oh, okay.
And yours wasn't at all.
No. Yeah, I remember that joke. I was thinking of the speech that I'm sorry, America Ferrera. I would just that was the speech I was thinking of. I forget.
Even though I said Margot Robbie gives a speech and she gets emotional, you thought I was talking about a different actress.
I was thinking about that speech because that speech really.
But I told you it was Margot Robbie.
I understand.
So you're obviously listening to me a great deal here.
I tuned you off 20 years ago.
I think you tuned this movie off because
I didn't. I love this
your
movie.
body language is hostile. You sound hostile. You don't want to talk about it anymore. And I'm talking about specific details of the movie. I don't even think you saw it.
Oh, bullshit.
I think you're lying to me.
I went to go see it. Yeah, I saw it. I had a full theater experience. It was like an afternoon movie. So
America Ferrera was also one of the best parts of the movie. she is such a great actress. She always has been. I even watched Sister to the Traveling Pants for the first time, a month or two ago, and she was my favorite part about that movie. It makes me want to go back and watch Ugly Betty and some other things that I haven't seen her in. Yeah, Greta did. She took a script and with, obviously her partner, Noah Baumbach, and they delivered the Barbie movie that I kind of knew they were going to deliver. And they even went more conventional than I thought they were going to go in terms of like turning in a studio script. Because the arc of the movie is a very studio arc and not like an independent Baumbach arc.
right.
It was like, oh, they're actually like adhering to the rules of screenplay or screenwriting here, from where the character starts to where the character goes. And that I was going to ask you what the last line of the movie means, but I don't think that you're qualified to answer that.
What was the last line? And then I'll tell you my,
I don't know if it's the last line, but you think she's going for a job interview, but she's going to the OBGYN for the first time.
yeah.
What does that mean?
She's excited that she actually has lady parts now. She's not just.
So she got lady parts?
I'm assuming that's what I took out of it. I'm like,
how does she get lady parts?
Now,
like Pinocchio?
Yeah, because
her inventor made her a real person.
Well, yeah, because like when she was becoming more real, like her heels dropped down, right, instead of having the high heel arch and all that.
Got it. Okay.
So I think now that she chose to be a real person, like she's starting to grow something.
Totally went over my head. I thought she was going to the OBGYN and it was going to be just like nothing down there, like the doll, and we were going to hear a scream or something. But then when the scream didn't happen, they just cut to black. I went, I don't understand what just happened at the end.
Yeah, man.
Thank God you cleared that up for me, because I thought the ending, I was going, what she's going to go terrify some OBGYN.
I mean, it could have went that. I could be wrong too, and she's just still.
No, I think you got it. I mean, she's turning human because
what was that?
She's turning human because
the part before that.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
she's turning human, so she totally turns human. She becomes a real girl.
Yeah,
it's just like Pinocchio.
Real woman,
it's the story of Pinocchio, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't wait to see it again, and I can't wait. I can't wait for Jules to watch it. It's just to take some of the kind of like the importance on the viewer, the viewing away from it. Just like Oppenheimer. Now that I've already seen it, now I can enjoy it.
Right.
Because it was so important to see these two movies on that opening weekend. It's like, okay, now we can analyze these movies, and now we can see how we like them, and now we can, really sit back and enjoy them as just an audience member instead of this cultural phenomenon that they are still.
Right. Yeah. I want to go see both again in theaters before it even comes back out. It comes out on streaming or whatever.
Barbenheimer.
No, separate days.
I would go see the 70 mil again because that was just,
I want to see it on 70 mil.
That was so fun. Oh my God, it was so much fun. And the criticism that you couldn't really hear some characters and did you read about that?
No, I didn't notice that at all in my view.
I totally did. There was times where dialogue I just couldn't decipher what they were saying. And I read it's because he doesn't do looping. And I love that. And I didn't care that I couldn't hear them because it makes you put together more in your head like a real conversation. You don't always hear what everybody says distinctly.
Yeah.
And this movie is the same way. You go like, I don't really understand what the guy just said. Oh, move on. We're going to do something else.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Maybe they just cranked up the sound system in mine. So
that's true too.
It was loud as shit.
That was the only downside of seeing Barbie in the theater for me was next door was Oppenheimer. So every once in a while you heard a huge boom coming from that theater and going like, man, the two movies are really coming together here.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I mean, but I remember that feeling back in the day, though. It kind of gives me some comfort too, because it's like, oh, there's people enjoying a movie in the theater right next door too.
God, I'm sorry you couldn't be here today.
What do you mean? We're talking about.
I'm sorry you were here for one of the two movies we covered.
Actually, both movies. I just revealed the whole.
It's a fucking doll. It's a cash ploy. They got my money. I'm so angry.
And I revealed the whole ending to you. I opened up a new door in your brain.
You revealed the last shot of the movie.
I was opening up the doors for you.
You literally revealed the last shot of the movie, the last joke of the movie. You didn't really reveal what happened in the movie. I'm not even sure I'm even not sure you knew what happened in this movie.
Yeah, I knew what happened in this. Come on, dude. I was just I'm
gonna get you. Why don't you just go on Bill Maher's podcast?
Sure. Yes, Bill. I would love to do that. But yeah. No, dude. What a great release. Two releases for summer, man. I'm just ecstatic. Both of them.
Oh yeah, get into the patting on the back now for the movie that you just spent saying that little girls were going to see this no matter what. It's going to make $1 billion no matter what, and I saw that going in.
I stand by those statements, and
you sound misogynistic,
and I was wrong because I mean I'm not wrong, but I was missing out on the point that we were in good hands. It was actually going to be a great movie, which it turned out to be. You
knew Greta Gerwig was attached.
Yeah, but I was.
You thought she was going to sell out completely, didn't you?
It wasn't that she was going to sell out. I just felt like maybe the studio would have stifled her.
Isn't that selling out? Selling out doesn't have to be for money.
She could have fought it tooth and nail, and at the end of the day, this, like the studio's like, yeah, fuck you. This is the movie we're putting out. Right?
No, there's no way they could do that. There's no way they would do that. Do you imagine the press on that?
I mean,
you've just been wrong about everything except for.
I'm more of a cynist when it comes to the studio system, man.
Cynist?
A cynical person.
You don't even know what you're saying anymore.
Esoteric. Yeah, I gotta go, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just rambling now.
Exactly.
I've reached my podcast talking time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
The bomb is going off.
Okay, everybody out there. Just in conclusion, Andrew Pescia loves Oppenheimer and hates Barbie.
No, that is not it.
Yes,
that is not it. I love both movies. Don't fuck. We're not gonna clip that out as a fucking
Oh my
soundbite.
God.
Don't listen to Nathan Robert
Hey,
Blackburn.
listen, I've known this guy for a long time, and I know when he's trying to bullshit me,
Bullshit
and he's
you?
bullshitting
The
me.
reasons why I was just had trepidations going in before I saw the movie is because it had nothing to do with the cinema, the making of it, the story. It was just what they were. It's the studio, man. The man.
You keep saying
the
that.
man. The patriarchy
You
that
keep
it's fighting
saying that.
against.
You keep saying that over and over, but I don't buy it because Greta Gerwig comes from the indie world, and she's going to co-write a smart, hip script.
Yeah, I know that, but
You don't, obviously. Let's get out of here. I'm tired of talking about this. Yeah, you hate Barbie, and I love Oppenheimer, and I love both movies because I'm a better person.
oh bullshit.
Thank you very much, and keep film alive. maybe you can redeem yourself with Barbie in a few months and see it again and take some of your judgment out of it this
Wait,
time.
judgment. It had nothing to do with
Preconceived
the viewing.
notions.
I said I was like that was before. You know what? We've talked this in circles, man.
No, we haven't. You've hit a brick wall.
No, because you're harping on the wrong point here. I love the fucking movie. It was a great movie.
You are so aggressive right now. I know you didn't like this movie.
No, it's
Keep talking about fucking Barbie. Can we move on? Can we end the show?
no, you keep saying like I hated Barbie, which I didn't
Well,
hate Barbie.
I'm
love
sorry.
Barbie.
I'm sorry you didn't have a good time.
I had a great time watching it.
I
It
didn't
was
because
fun
it was a
in the
movie about
theater.
a doll, and you knew that it was a cash grab going in. But adults actually enjoy this movie because it was thought provoking. So
they went to go see it because they're like, hey, I want to spend my Saturday going to a philosophy class versus, hey, this movie's about Barbie. I love Barbie.
yes, they did. I think that's why people went to see the movie. People went to see the movie because it was going to say something. They knew it was going to be smart. They knew it was going to be a fresh take on it, and it wasn't just going to be about a fucking doll. And you still think that's what the movie was.
No, that's not what I think the movie was. I think
just press the end of this. This is ridiculous.
I'm good.
You're talking like you have derailed.
I feel deranged talking to you right now about this, but whatever.
All right, end it. Keep film alive.
I love both movies, Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Keep film alive.